Hi everyone, Isabella here. So summer 2020 is over and now we're into the fall. And now I'm starting to get questions about resuming of cruises. When are the cruises are going to sail? When are we able to book our holidays? We have the future cruise credits. Should we start putting them on the booking? Should we book something already in 2021 or should we use that future cruise credit for 2022? Well, I wish I had a crystal ball and give you a definite answer, but what I can tell you is just looking at what's going on right now and so much uncertainty that we're facing, not only in North America, but all over the world with the COVID situation. I can't give you a definite answer when it's going to be safe for you to cruise. And that question really depends largely on not only on the cruise lines or the CDC, but I think largely depends on us. It depends on you, really, and how people are compliant. Because imagine this scenario. Even if they started cruising, let's say starting next year in 2021, because we probably already can suspect that they will not be resuming any cruises until that year, even though they're pushing by drips and drabs every month another push to voluntarily suspend cruising. I The way it's looking right now, you have to question how can the cruise line safely open? How can the regulations be removed from all these restrictions that they have to face? And I think we have to question ourselves, where do we bear the responsibility for all this? Because really, it really depends on us, on you and me, whether all those passengers on that cruise lines are going to be compliant to the rules. Imagine if you decided to book a cruise and all systems are go. CDC said, fine, you can sail now, and the cruise lines can't wait to resume cruising because let's face it, they're losing a lot of money right now by being docked somewhere and having their crew on constant call and basically saying, yes, we're going to sail next month, and then have to recall their crew and then get them back again. It is not only frustrating for us waiting for that next cruise, but it's also frustrating for the cruise line and the crew. So I think if we want to get that under control, everyone, and not only in North America, but globally, has to face the fact that we have to follow the CDC or the World Health Organization recommendation and listen to the scientists so we can actually tamp it down, because cruises are not just United States. They are going to other countries. We all have to play on the same team, really. And I know I've had some discussions with other agents that says, well, why don't we just do, cruises to nowhere? It doesn't work that way because of the pre-existing laws that exist now. You do have to at least stop in one U.S. port. So CDC has these regulations in place. So if any time you're going to start or dock or visit a U.S. port, you're going to be under the CDC regulations. Okay, so what if we just cruise in Europe, or what if we cruise in other parts of the world? That's great and fine, but we also have to take into consideration that the cruise line might be super, super careful to make sure that they are kind of COVID proof. And how do you do that? We've seen the news lately. Finding passengers on the flight because one person decided that a face shield is what they need and the other people disagreed and they stated that no, you need to wear a face mask, and that started a fight. I mean, what's going to happen on a cruise when you're at sea and somebody disagrees with your handling of the COVID precautions? We're in such a charged society right now. Everybody's been cooked up for months on end, and all our normal activities that we're used to are so curtailed we want that release. We want to go and visit our friends and travel again, but we have to come to realization that this is not going to be an easy task. If COVID is still, floating around the world. So what to do? When should we use those future cruise credits? I think you really have to look at 2022 and perhaps even when the 2023 opens up, because nothing lasts forever. This too shall pass. I think it will require patience and coordination, and everybody basically following the scientific method, where it's a proven method to stop viruses if you follow what they recommend. So also when you're compliant and not get the fatigue where you think, okay, we're on vacation, masks off, and let's go to the pool and do some laps and then have a pina colada and sit next to somebody. Oh, regulations be damned, we are on holidays. Because this is what happened every civic holiday, especially if you look down south. People really want to give up these restrictions, but in order to get rid of the restrictions, we do have to give up some of our personal freedoms. We do have to be compliant to whatever is maybe not super comfortable, or maybe not super it doesn't have the right look, like wearing masks. But yeah, that's what's required. So it really depends on you. You can't ask the cruise lines or the CDC or other or CLIA regulations to solve the problem for you. You are really simply the captain of your own ship. We are the ones who are going to decide whether or not the cruise lines are going to resume cruising, and whether or not we are going to be able to live our daily life as we used to, or as close as we are used to in the past. So my prediction is going to be 2022, 2023. This is where we are going to be cruising. Now, the cruise lines are going to try to resume cruising prior to this, and they are working really hard to get everything in place. It's costing them amount of money to refigure everything on board that we can't even imagine, to put all the PPPs, to train all the staff. This is all at cost. They have to kind of weigh it between, should we just wait to 2022 and see how we can financially survive and not risk somebody coming on board and not following the requirements and infecting everybody, and then we're going to be on the news as the next floating petri dish like Diamond Princess and have the bad press? Do we risk that, or do we just sit it out and try to make sure that in the meantime we're doing all these improvements, and maybe we pivot and get the older ships that are smaller refurbished and maybe downsize a little bit? Because they are going to be different painful decisions that the cruise lines have to eventually make if this continues. If this COVID continues past 2021, I don't think that there is going to be a lot of cruise lines to choose from. I think the big companies, because they have under their umbrella 3 or 4 different cruise lines, they have the ability to shrink and yet still survive. But I fear for the smaller cruise lines, what are they going to do if that really is going to take to 2023? So I believe that if we do our part and the cruise lines do their part to change the regulations, to basically disinfect, teach their crew about the proper procedures, we have to do our part also, and then only then we can resume our normal cruising. And believe me, I can't wait. I am very much like everybody else looking forward to my cruise. And I do have something planned in January, but I already know that probably this is going to be maybe an impossible dream right now. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this is not going to be the case. But let's wait and see. I think what we need right now is patience and optimism. And I think if you do book something and put your future cruise credit for 2022, at least you have that. At least you have hope that eventually you will be cruising and eventually you will enjoy it, maybe with less restrictions. But in order, again, as I said before, for us to do that, we all have to be compliant. We all have to follow the scientific method and scientific advice and wear that mask. That mask is going to stay with us for a while, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. I know when I was joking before, put away your lipstick, ladies, kind of came true. So, if you have any questions, or if you want to chat about what's going on and why we can't have cruises to nowhere, what's stopping really us, I can definitely send you some links to explain all the details of what's what and why. I hope you stay healthy, and I hope that if you are planning to cruise, put that future deposit on 2022, and at least you have something positive and optimistic to look forward to. And until then, stay healthy and stay strong, and I will talk to you perhaps very, very, very soon.